Hello students, good afternoon. Wish you all very happy new year. I hope you all are good, you all have enjoyed this phase of life and you are sincerely paying attention to your regular academics. Am I right? So myself, Rajesh Dadich, your mentor in English from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group, Kota. So students, today we are going to start and discuss some of your very important chapters from your main course book, and that is First Flight. So are you ready for that? Just keep your book handy, keep your book open, and thereafter have a look at the lectures. We are going to discuss the chapters one by one, and I have selected 3 chapters for you. Here they are. Have a look. Chapters. First Flight book is there, right? And these 3 chapters today we are going to discuss. Chapter 4, First Flight, Chapter 5, Chapter 6. From Chapter 4 is From the Diary of Anne Frank. I hope you all must be familiar with this title, with this chapter, and let me tell you, this is not merely a chapter, this is just a part of a novel, right? The story of my life means From the Diary of Anne Frank is just a collection of diary entries. So this is just a part of that diary which the main character, the main protagonist of this chapter, Anne Frank, wrote. Okay, so have a look. From the Diary of Anne Frank, this is the title of the chapter, and let me make it very much clear to you. Diary of Anne Frank, is it clear now that Anne Frank is the character who used to maintain her diary. Her diary means who used to regularly write all her experiences of day-to-day life in that diary. Okay, so this is the title of the chapter, and it was written by Anne Frank. You know, students, but before we start, let me give you a little introduction of this chapter. Right. Actually, Anne Frank, this character, was born in the year 1929, and she did not enjoy a good and long span of life. She died at her tender time period, means she could not enjoy long life, and only 14 or 15 years she could enjoy, she could remain alive, and thereafter she died. That such a young girl is maintaining diary. Just have a look around yourself, around the people, around your life. How many people are there who regularly maintain diary writing? So this is really strange. That's why she became popular, she became famous. And the thing is, she used to write every pinpoint of her daily life. So let me take you to the background of that time, and this is based on the time period of Second World War. You know, Second World War broke out in the year 1939 and it lasted till 1945, and it might have continued, but with the interference of the UNO of America, it just came to an end, right? And Germany played a very pivotal role. Germany, as soon as we think of the word Germany, you know, we are naturally reminded, spontaneously, we are reminded of a person of that time who was a great dictator, who was a great aristocrat, atrocious person, and he was none other than the head of the Nazi party. Who was that? Hitler. Sir Adolf Hitler, who used to win the whole world, and even he wanted to establish the capital of Germany on the moon also. Such was Hitler. And you know, students, Hitler used to despise, Hitler used to loathe, Hitler used to hate whom? Jewish people. Yes, he was entirely against them, Jewish people. He did not like them. So in Germany, as and when and where he found Jewish people, any Jewish person or Jewish people, he used to captivate them, he used to detain them, he used to imprison them, And this Nazi party used to torture these Jewish people. This is not all. These Nazis used to not only torture these people, but they used to send these Jewish people to a specially framed camp known as concentration camp. Yes, his atrocities, his cruelties do not come to an end here only. They used to send these Jewish people over there for more torture, tormentation, vexation. And most of the people, more than 90%, we may say, more than 90% of these people who were undergoing this torture in those concentration camps used to die. Yes. They had to succumb to death. They had no other option, because that was a kind of torture, these Jewish people. So we are going to learn the story of Anne Frank. She was also one of the Jewish persons. Means she was born in a Jewish family. Her parents were Jewish. So they also had to undergo this torture. And this little tender girl, Anne Frank, could not bear, could not put up, could not withstand this torture, and ultimately she also died at this tender age. So I hope now you might have got the cause of her death, right? But before that, actually she was just a different girl. She didn't have any friend, and maybe she didn't have any real friend. And she was of the opinion that paper has more patience than people. Paper, you know what we mean by the term paper? Paper means diary. So if we share something with our friends, we are apprehensive that our secrets or whatever we are shared with our friends may be disclosed, may be shared with somebody else, and in this way our privacy may be curtailed, may come to an end. That may be attacked or that may be misused. But papers means diary. Diary is the real friend of somebody, of people, because diary has patience. It can listen to our experiences, share. If we can share our experiences, we can share our tortures, our bad experience, good experiences with diary, and it gives no reply to us, and it listens to us. It seems that it is listening to us without any comments, unlike human friends. So she was all alone. She had no friends. She had few friends, I must say. So her father, Anne Frank's father, gave her a diary, gifted her a diary on a birthday. And in that diary, she used to pen down each and everything, and she regarded this diary as her best friend. And you know, whoso is a friend must have some name also. So she had given this diary as a friend a name, and that is Kitty. So shall we continue now? Are you ready for that? Let's. This is an autobiography of a young girl, Anne Frank. Autobiography, biography means life sketch, life detail, and autobiography means a person who is writing about himself. Means we are talking about the life sketch of the person who himself has prepared this life sketch. Means autobiography, self-biography of a young girl, Anne Frank, who expresses her thought in a diary. We have already discussed. Her father has gifted the diary on her 13th birthday. Right, students? Since she was all alone and she had few friends, that's why her father thought it better to give her a diary who can be proved as a real friend. So he gifted, and he advised her, "Beta, please do not feel alone. Please do not keep yourself isolated, but keep this diary as your friend." And that's why she gave the name Kitty to this diary, okay, which she calls with the name of Kitty. And Anne Frank is a Jewish girl who is hiding during World War II. So all these Jewish people used to keep themselves away from the Nazis. They did not want to be in the limelight of the Nazis, lest they should be tormented, they should be tortured by the Jewish in their concentration camps also, because they knew once they entered the concentration camp, once they were caught, no chance was there to remain alive, right? But fortunately, Anne Frank's father could remain alive. In the whole family, only her father could remain alive. Rest of all people died. So, in order to avoid the Nazis, they used to move here and there. She lives, means Anne Frank lives there for 2 years. She had to remain in that camp. She had been detained along with the family for 2 years and describes all her experiences in the diary. Means all her experiences, how she felt, what she did, what they did, how they did. She mentioned everything in the diary on every page. Thus, she puts her energy into studying, writing, gaining knowledge of politics, literature. She has mentioned each and everything in that diary. After her death, she becomes world famous because of the diary. Means one day, means when she had died, and one day when her father came to know of this diary, he went through this diary and he was feeling very upset, and he thought it better to make his daughter alive, make his daughter immortal, not physically but through her work. That's why he decided to get it published. That's why this chapter is here in front of you in this book, though this is just one of the pages of the diary, not all pages. The author feels that it is strange and unusual for her to write a diary because it is the first time she is doing it, and what I told you, her father gifted her with this diary, and Anne Frank was not at all familiar with the art of maintaining diary. So this was her first experience when she was writing diary. She feels that in the future no one will read about a young girl's past experiences. She was of the opinion that she was just sharing her bad experiences, her experiences of concentration camp, of remaining, of being in concentration camp. With the diary, she was sharing her experiences, and she knew, she was of the opinion that nobody else would be able to read this diary hereafter in future. The author means Anne Frank is feeling very lonely as she has no friends to talk to. Though so-called friends, though she had so many people whom we can call friends, but they were not real friends. She wants to give her need of friend a shape. She really wanted a friend whom she could confide with. Okay? Hence decides to name the diary as a kitty. Kitty is her friend, and that is diary, not a human being. She wrote every problem and happenings in her diary. Whatever went with her, whatever happened to her in her life, she mentioned each and everything in that diary. She feels that the paper has more patience than people do to absorb thoughts rather than people who have low patience level. Suppose we share something with human beings who are our so-called friends. Every time we are apprehensive, we are doubtful that they may disclose our ideas, disclose our secrets. We have put our trust on those human friends, but we are always suspecting that these people may leak out our secrets. But unlike them, this diary has more patience, and very much patiently, with rapt attention, it listens to us. She was very close to her grandma. Anne Frank had her grandmother, and she was very much attached to her. She actually loved her grandmother, right? So after her death, she felt very much alone. Actually, it all happened when her father found that his daughter remained alone after the death of his mother, means Anne Frank's grandmother. Okay, so they lived in hiding for many years to survive. They had to survive, not long but at least 2 years. During these 2 years time, she wrote this diary, and she penned down all her experiences, right? She was lovable of every teacher except Mr. Keesing, who taught maths. Anne Frank was very good at her academics. Yes, she liked every subject, whatever was taught in her school. One more thing, she has described in a diary that all other students, almost all other students or most of the students in her class were just a muck, useless, means they didn't have that much knowledge level, and they did not deserve any kind of promotion. And for promotion, a special word has been used in your chapter, and that is form, right? So she was of the opinion that they did not deserve any kind of promotion to the next class, and they should be detained in the current class. But it did not happen, and they were promoted. She liked all subjects, but only one subject was there. She was not comfortable, and that was maths. She was not at all feeling comfortable with maths subject. Why? Actually, she was not weak in maths, but she had a problem with her maths teacher, Mr. Keesing. Mr. Keesing. You know, students think that teachers are really, most of the students think that teachers are really very unpredictable. We cannot say anything about, we cannot predict anything about our teachers, what they turn into all of a sudden, how they change their mood. We cannot say, this is really unpredictable. So was this applicable to Mr. Keesing also? Actually, Anne Frank inherited one of the attributes of her personality, and that was, she was verbose. Verbose means talkative, just like a chatterbox. Okay, so she used to talk a lot while being in the classroom. You also might be talking maybe, and you also might have been scolded by your school teachers in your respective classroom for talking too much, because the teacher feels disturbance. So this Anne Frank was also of this nature. She was talkative. So Mr. Keesing was too much fed up with this girl because of her nature, talkative nature. So one day, as a punishment, he gave her an essay to write. So to his utter, another topic was given, and that also she did it. And in this way, she proved her real worth in front of the teacher, and finally the teachers also gave in, and they understood her real worth, and finally she was allowed to talk in the classroom, because they knew that whatever she was talking, she was not a useless talk. She was not involved in loose talkings. No. Whatever she was talking, that was important. That's why she was allowed. So look, Mr. Keesing got annoyed with her talkative nature, and he punished her by giving her extra homework many a time. And her essay in verse form on topic quack, quack, quack. What is quack, quack, quack? Don't you think this is just a sound of ducks and ducklings, swans? Since she was talking to you, that's why she was given this topic to write on this, and to the utter amazement of all her teachers, she successfully wrote her views in the form of an essay, and all were impressed. Said Mistress Chatterbox humiliated Mr. Keesing, and in this way Mr. Keesing felt humiliated, insulted. He allowed her to talk and relieved her from any extra homework, and now on, whenever he found, means Mr. Keesing during his class, whenever he found this girl talking, he knew that she might have been talking something valuable. That's why he always allowed her speaking and talking. He never gave any kind of punishment on the ground of her nature as talkative girl. Right, students? I hope you might have got this chapter perfectly. So this is the revision of this chapter. Now let's switch to next chapter.